can we go?
No. Yeah, I'm totally good.
Fantastic. Then I guess I should do a recap.
Nobody make fun of my hat hair.
Well,
Port Ironcast has always been kind of touted as like a place of education, not only due to the nature of the Grand Arcane Academy there, but also to the inquisitive, open-minded nature of its inhabitants. And maybe spending time in Epitaph among the mad pirates has kind of given you some perspective. But arriving here, it's been really remarkable to see how well the people of this harbor city just took to the streets. Their streets being filled with corpses from the plane of savory things, and just kind of like scrubbing once sentient strawberry ice cream from their porches, like one person might scrub off muddy footprints. And you would kind of been ushered to a familiar room in the Placidium Academy, all of you minus Galad having memories of this comfortable waiting room from the last time that you were all between a rock and a hard place. And while the conversation churned from matters of foundling stones to feathered friends, it was only when Arxis himself returned and began to engage, having overheard the entire discourse up until that point, that the beginnings of understanding started to really take shape. And the cynical goblin, who was the self-proclaimed son of Ioun, asserted to all of you that the island really was a cursed place where the gods wanted no mortals to ever settle. And he told you that Rios was initially supposed to be a secluded place to hide something, a library, where the first Warforged were working tirelessly away to put pen to parchment and create books of pure truth and spell books of pure power, knowledge that no mortal should ever know. What was supposed to at first be a way to honor the teachings of a god, Ioun, went horribly awry, and the siren song of knowledge that called mortals to this land eventually led to the present day, where now a great dragon has also begun a project to honor a second god, and it's under that shadow that the island is still hanging. Benji, you look so different, bald. I can't get over it.
yeah, me either.
It's you need a turtleneck. I really feel it strongly.
A turtleneck?
Yeah.
I don't think I own a turtleneck. They just
Pretty good one.
announced that shelter in place was extended through the end of May, and I was sick of my hair.
Oh, good. I did the exact same thing, but mine is, yeah.
My girlfriend has forbade me from shaving my head.
Here's the thing. I've gotten sick of my hair on multiple occasions, and Josh had forbidden me. But this round, I was like, I'm going to lose my mind. And he's like, I mean, if there's a time to do it, it's now.
Oh, yeah.
Benji, you've got to wear a black turtleneck.
Completely regrets it.
Black turtleneck with a pair of jeans.
I am ordering a black turtleneck right now on Amazon.
Fantastic. It really would complete the look.
Really? You think
oh,
I look like
100%,
Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the vibes.
Like, and this is weird for me, because, like, you look like 4 different people I know, and that sounds horrible, but it's like all sort of shaved head people with, like, a stubble. Look really similar to me.
No, that's really funny because I don't know who he is anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you got that kind of look on right now, Benji. I pasted in Discord.
The what?
You've got that look going on.
The Fassbender Steve Jobs look.
Very much so. It really does look like tech industry. Yeah. Silicon Valley look. Wild, I tossed you a card because you got 8 votes. And you were the only one who got a vote last game other than Saigar, with the statement of, just for the insane amount of talking and planning that you kind of had a sort of drive because nobody else was taking the lead. Somebody voted for you, and that brought you up to 8 points.
Oh, hell yeah. We're going to need this.
Yeah, where was I in the recap? I seem to recall that he had claimed that being a foundling basically just meant living a life of increasingly bad decisions that continued to grow until your exploits were larger than life and it all kind of came crashing down. and Arxis had a bitter outlook that really only perked up slightly when he was kind of offered a position as a teacher in the new lands of Dokazur, provided, of course, he could be guaranteed students that wanted to learn genuinely. And while Kyvius broke away from the group to toil away at a secret project, Saigar's own secret activities finally came to the fore when Morgaine and Eerie and Galad took off to find a local smith. And Eerie's desire to just learn a little metalworking, like just a baby level steel, was interrupted yet again by the industrial soot-splattered nature of the city, where he discovered that really the only smiths still around were industrial, more of a warforged factory than anybody who practiced kind of the old-fashioned hammer and anvil style. And while Morgaine struggled to not punch a morbidly obese merchant in the face who continued to price out his general worthlessness, it was at this point in time that Saigar swung in through the window, bow drawn, arms full of parts and blueprints, explaining to Morgaine that you did not need the help of any of these people, and revealing that all of his long secret trips away from the group back in Dokazur had been excuses for him to kind of work with all of the displaced crafters of a high helm, talking to other Warforged, and learning everything he possibly could about the race in order to personally help his childhood friend, Morgaine Zephyr. And your trip to High Helm, in the midst of all of this chaos, was going to be an uneventful one. But as I understand it, there's a few moments before your arrival in the sewers near the crumbling city that we want to just go back to and revisit. Does anybody want to jump in first and tell me where you'd like to pick up today's game?
It has to be Wild. Wild had plans that had to be worked out.
Well, I have a couple things, but
I have to put a hat back on because my head is cold now.
that sounds like a very strange sensation. What were... I mean, did anybody have individual, like, side things they wanted to do? Because the only thing I can think of is that we were deciding whether or not to talk to Maestro.
The only side thing I wanted to do is before... This could be, like, on the road. Doesn't have to be in Iron Gas. It'd be, like, on the road, on the way to High Helm. I would want to briefly pull Morgaine aside and talk to him.
Oh, that'll be fun.
This worked out so well the last time.
Right. It's short and sweet. It's not even going to be an epically long, epically long one.
Okay. Claire was most set on talking to Maestro, right?
Yeah.
Because you believe he already overheard us.
And I'm pretty sure he would have. Pointed out Galad.
Oh, I thought it was confirmed.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he brought up Kaz talking or calling the Foundling Stone a magic rock, and we said we were planning to steal it
Monster
after
rock.
Kaz had said that.
Monster Rock, yes.
He agreed with Morgaine's astute assessment. And I just need to talk with Saigar briefly to try to help my big golem-y friend.
Okay.
So what order shall we do that in?
And then I need to take Eerie and talk to the Raven Queen briefly. I'm sure that'll be fun.
And then Eerie needs to talk to Kyvius, and Kyvius needs to talk to Galadrin, and then Galadrin talk to Saigar.
And Hyvius and Saigar have worst exchange still. There's a lot of shit happening.
Let's build out this
Spider web. Wait, I should
Anybody
miss
have a
spider web.
flowchart?
It's just a circle.
And Theo moves his folder of things to do today to next session pile.
Listen,
Oh
Galadriel,
man, our
listen,
path
Galadriel,
towards
right?
getting towards High Helm Heist is actually just a circle, and we never get there.
It's true. It's true.
Listen, Galadriel, we've got to take this one offline.
Please, not this again. Please.
We also Arxis has couple tapestries, doesn't he?
He
Or
does.
does he
Yeah.
only? Okay, good.
Are they
He
all
only
connected
had-
together, or how do they connect? Is it like 1-to-1?
They are all connected together. One big spider web of linked portals.
So like when you go through one, you choose which one you come out of?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh
we
my
can
God,
just
that
take
makes our
one
life
with us
so
as
much
an
easier.
escape route.
Okay, I thought we were gonna have to transposition 2 into the kingdom, and then okay.
Checking out the list.
Your plan does not require me to use a charge transposition, right, Warren?
No, no.
I shall save this trinket, and it's going to be the last item we ever use in this game.
I know, right? There was also there was just a roll. Hey, that's a cool robot-looking guy. Oh yeah, that's following you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Can we get more of those? Ours look badass. The cons
Hey,
are shit.
Don't control my robot.
Sorry, I was trying to beep boop. Oh, permission removed. I think there was also one that didn't need a scene. Was I just need a roll for my scroll of linked portal?
That's true. Yeah. I don't recall what the cost or the DC is of that one. Maybe you can help me there, or Claire can jump in.
I can get the cost real quick.
That'd be great. It is normally, oh god, it's such a low-level ritual. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's not.
680 for a scroll.
We're not gonna worry about
Is it-
time because, of course, you've got all the time in the world right now.
Just hand wave the time. We had 2 days.
Yeah, but I do need that Arcana check.
Okay, cool.
And it's just for the
Uh,
duration of the check, right? And
Yeah.
didn't you have a bonus because of Arxus helping?
Would that still be true for the scroll, or would he be like?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he would have helped out. So you can make an additional +4 bonus to your roll here.
Okay, hell yeah. I mean, all I really need is not one. We don't need it to be open long.
So that would be
Yeah.
5 rounds.
Fuck.
30 seconds.
Cool. I actually did not want that, but apparently I'm too good.
You can do less than that. You can opt for it to be less. That's just sort of the maximum.
Yeah, what are the 3 options? I wanted the
Uh,
middle one.
1 round, 2 rounds, or 5.
2. People
All right.
following us is my biggest concern.
Fantastic. Don't forget that using a
be
scroll
right
is a
back.
standard action. Yep.
Yes.
I don't have a scroll handout for you, and I'm not gonna bust out the IOU because it'll be done by the end of the session. But I remember that. Where is it linking the portal to?
I want to say the door in the kingdom,
Okay.
but if it's only for us, the door in High Helm is also viable, but it does mean that if we do that, the jig's up.
So linked portal is unique, right? Because it has to be to a pre-existing linked portal. Now the door definitely works, right? Because that counts. If you're not going to use one of the Titan's gates, basically, it has to be like a runic circle that you have drawn somewhere.
Right. Which I don't know of any other
Okay,
than
I'm back.
the-
I think
Yeah.
a meteor just hit somewhere.
Right, but you could like create one here, for example, and then teleport to it if you needed to.
Wait, we can just make those?
Yeah, you basically take an hour to like make like a big chalk circle or out of like the special inks that Arxis has, and then you can create a portal somewhere, and then you can then teleport to that portal when you use the ritual.
I thought I thought it was a lot harder than that.
Not
Because in all
skills
the other editions of D&D, it's like a fucking nightmare to make.
Take an
Oh, yeah.
entire year to make a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man,
Oh,
you just
Just scribble some chalk on the ground.
scribble
would've-
some chalk.
That would have been cool earlier. Did not know that. Would have done that in the kingdom. Gonna do it the hard way instead. Yeah, we're linking to the door because the idea is that I want people who follow us to die. So,
Nice.
Sorry, Galad.
It's all right.
Yeah.
well, the tapestry is what we're using, but the blinked portal is like the uh-oh.
Galad's got legacy.
A whole 1 point.
A whole 1 point.
Okay, and you're taking one of the tapestries with the idea that you're going to jump into it and come out where if you need to.
The
Uh,
other one.
Yeah, it's gonna
Tapestry's
be
already there.
Yeah, because Eerie is transposing with what's his name's arm?
Garrow's arm.
Garrow's
Right.
arm,
Right.
the tapestry into the kingdom.
Okay.
So the problem becomes we need to figure out a way to destroy it once we pass through it, because otherwise we'll be followed.
That's great to know. Eerie, did you guys already subtract the money for transposition?
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you
More
go
gains
ahead
on
and
top
give
of
your
that.
Arcana check? I'm sure you'll be fine.
500 last session.
Oh, wait, you did that already.
Yeah, we did that already.
Okay, cool. I'm good now. I'm all caught up.
All right. I was
guess-
just throwing another 680 at a backup plan.
Right. And I guess that leaves you, Kyvius.
Running into Morgaine, I would walk up to him and say, hey, if you just got a moment, really quickly, not going to take a lot of your time, while we were in the Feywild, I don't know if you've seen every once in a while, I kind of, I do this thing where when we're, usually when we're in a bit of trouble, I kind of pop around the battlefield and disappear and reappear, and I'm not actually really disappearing and reappearing. It's kind of, well, it's kind of this thing that I do that I can like step through the Feywild.
I was
And-
gonna go do something. Is this getting?
Yeah,
to a
I'm sorry,
point?
sorry. You know me, I could talk too much. But because we went to the Feywild, I realised, well, I gained a bit of knowledge. It kind of, I don't know, it made me, I don't know. I made this for you because I think it will be useful, and I take out of my pocket a brass ring that looks relatively familiar. It's been expanded a little, so it fits around one of Morgaine's fingers. And I hand it out to him in my palm and say, I made this for you because I think it might be helpful to you.
Is that?
Yes.
Well, I guess thank you for returning it.
Well, I thought I needed, in order to do this, I kind of needed someone that I had a connection with, and this was a kind of a good representation of that connection, and so it kind of made the spell a little bit easier.
Okay.
And I'd hand him over the ring and say, yeah, if you want to put it on, it'd be great. It might be useful.
Yeah, I'll try it on in a bit.
All right.
Do you know where Saigar is?
No, actually, I haven't seen him for some time since I was working.
Hey,
He
I'm
kind
right
of
here.
wandered off.
All right, couldn't but overhear you.
He's around the corner.
Oh, Saigar, I was looking just for you. So you see this big guy over here? You know how we
Yes.
talked, a little bit ago about you doing Warforged repair.
Mm-hmm.
You think you could help him out? He seems like he's deaf and can't see, can't hear. He
I would
hasn't
love to,
talked
I would love to, Morgan, but let me ask you this honest question, and this is serious. This is the first time I'm going to be doing this, and much as I don't want to do it on you, would you feel okay with me trying something out on this?
If you're unsure, do it on me first. Yeah, but it's
Not that I want to ruin you, just I don't know how you feel if I screw
no.
this
You
up.
know what, Saigar? I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's very considerate of you because you've read me just right. I just want to help him out because that darkness it's lonely, and I want to help him out.
I think I'd like to. Steel, what kind of role would this be to help out?
That's
Trident
a
Morgan first?
craft skill check. I'm so glad.
Oh, great!
Yeah. We
Do
had
I get
someone who
any
did that
kind
a
of
lot.
bonus to it, given the fact that I've been working on it?
Yeah, I was actually going to say the first time that you're successful, I'll let you be trained in craft.
Oh, nice. Well, the first time I'm successful. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Whew.
So for the time being, that runs off of your, hey, guess what? Your wisdom skill, which is something that you actually are like, I'm never going to use that.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for its countered
All right.
spells.
Morgan, are there any parts on you that need some repair?
Well, my eye.
All right.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to repair his existing eye, Steel. Or sorry, is his bad eye.
Do you do this just like directly in the street in front of Kyvius?
No. We're
Party,
gonna have to go somewhere. I think
Hold
preferably
still,
indoors,
this will
Morgan.
only take a
this
second.
This is almost like open heart surgery. I don't think we should be doing it out in the middle of the street.
Okay. The three of you make your way down. Saigar, there's a warehouse here in the town that you know is abandoned because you made sure it was abandoned, and you years ago make your way down to that location. It's very, very secluded, and despite the bad memories of this place, it is a perfect spot for you to work on Morgane's eye, leaving Kyvius alone in the fish-smelling market streets.
All right. Do you want me to roll crafting?
Sure do. Are you trying to fix Morgane's eye?
I'm trying to fix Morgan's eye. It's the bad one, not touching the good one.
Cool. I will say, also go ahead and roll a 1d2 for me.
Oh boy. First or after?
No, right now. Listen, don't even pay attention to Kaz there giving you some sass. The 1d2 is to determine how many replacement eyes you manage to grab in your heist. So you actually have 2. So if you fail the first one, you've got another go.
All right.
No, I love this. I'm laughing because of my enjoyment.
All right. Well, Morgane, I hope this actually restore your sight and doesn't make it worse. So let's give this a shot.
I don't know how there's not an eye there. Yeah,
I mean, it could somehow make it like reversed.
17. Saigar, you didn't know this about Morgane, but he actually functions on the same rules as the popular board game Operation. When you try to put the new eye in, you sort of bump his socket, and it just sparks go firing off, and Morgane, you can kind of feel like a spasm of electricity shooting through your head. And the first eye just explodes into shattered glass, leaving you with one more.
So, Morgane, as I was saying, it's a good thing we try this out first. I don't know what I would do to the Warforged. I'm still not very skilled in this, unfortunately. I still have to work on it. Do you want me to try the other eye? Should we wait for a more opportune moment?
You could try simpler repairs if you want to try that. Is that your last eye? Because I still really want it for, the other guy.
You want the eye for the other guy?
Yeah, he can't see right now.
I see.
Yes.
No pun intended.
Too bad.
All right. In that case, is there another piece of your armor I can get another shot at, and that's not as complicated as your eye?
Could try my shoulder. That's been, I think, messed up since. That's been messed up.
Yeah, most of the.
I have some scrap metal steel. Am I allowed using that?
Oh yes, absolutely. And that would make it a normal difficulty skill check, which is DC 17, as opposed to a hard one.
Which is also DC 17.
Which technically would be DC 25, so no.
Gotcha. All right, well, I'm going to try to repair your shoulder, Morgan. Yeah. Hopefully I don't make it worse.
Yeah, because you've got all the plans and blueprints. You spend some time consulting them, and over the course of the next hour, you do everything you possibly can to mend Morgane, putting into practice all of the sort of the legwork that you'd put into up until this point.
Oh my god! Of course I rolled that one.
Oh man.
Well, I have a long way to go, Morgaine. I'm truly sorry.
Morgaine, you don't know a polite way to tell Zygar this, because he really did try, and cosmetically it does. It looks good. You find it actually significantly more difficult to move your arm now. But like, you wouldn't tell him that. Obviously, it's all, it's closed back up. It looks cosmetically good. He just, he kind of gave you like a deep tissue massage, which was nice, but also you're still grievously out of sorts.
Yeah, thank you. I would say, maybe you could try practicing on some like practice dummies or mannequins, right? Like, I think we could try looking, see if there's any craftsmen in Durkas or
Yeah, I think so.
see if they can get that eye in there.
I
Thank you,
agree.
though.
Definitely want to get this up to skill at some point, Morgaine, so that we can actually heal you in battle.
Yeah. My shield's pretty dented. You can try that sometime.
Aw, he's so encouraged.
Morgaine, I added the ring that Kyvius made for you into your inventory. I'm sure you've seen that already.
Thank you.
But when you do all finally step back out into the city streets, Warren, Erie, Galad, anything you guys want to jump in?
Glad just get lost in.
Wild?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this one's gonna be a little dramatic, but so he needs somebody to come with him, because these aren't the kind of things you should do without a witness. And Erie seems wrapped up in this anyway. So yeah, he goes to Erie and is like, hey, there's a temple in town to the Raven Queen. I figured we could at least learn a little bit about what's going on.
Okay, and you want me to come with you?
Yeah, well, I might, I might.
You want to
Do
make sure you
what?
don't do anything stupid.
Well, I'm going to do something stupid. I want you there so that I can't lie about what I do.
Gotcha. You need a wit.
Couple questions though, just to make sure I'm on the right track. Okay. What the card did to Polo, bad. Souls getting trapped, bad. Potentially souls getting trapped and forged, bad. We're against all those things, right?
You mean us?
Okay. I don't want to miss the mark with the others, but I'm pretty sure most of us feel that way. There's a lot of mixed feelings on Jon Savos's resurrection ritual. I'll leave that alone for now, but I'd invite Galad, but I think he would never want to go anywhere associated with the Shadowfell.
That's probably true.
Also, he keeps looking at me funny, and I haven't figured out why yet.
I think it's just because of, well, a few reasons. We don't need to go into them.
Okay.
Or we can.
No, it's not important right now. I mean,
You sure
I'm
I
sure.
have a little list right here.
What? Wait, have I? Is this an intervention? Did I do something wrong?
No, but if you just want to know.
You know, why don't we read off the list as we walk towards a very sad-looking place? Look how dour they look around that temple.
You're not wrong. The temple to the Raven Queen is, it's not in like the nicest part of town. And the town's not very big. You're able to see it sort of when you walk in, but the actual entryway is in kind of like a sort of a nearby darkened. And out front there was what looks like basically a big giant metal coat hanger, for lack of a better word, upon which about a dozen ravens perch.
Yes, at the corner of Murder Street and Mugging Alley.
Mm-hmm.
This was the alley that a couple of gentlemen had ran down after you nearly killed them on your first time here.
Right.
I forgot about that. We gotta get jumped.
And when you step into the actual cathedral itself, I've mentioned this to you in passing already a while, but for the benefit of everybody else, there are 3 large stone doors that open into the sort of immediate foyer, and it's all unadorned rather. It's all stark stone, and you were able to sort of just pick one at random and follow a long, winding, labyrinthian tunnel that all basically leads to sort of the same central foyer. And in this central foyer, it looks very much like what you would expect a traditional church to be, except for the fact that the floor here is also stone. It is cold as ice beneath your feet. It is engraved as well with the symbol of a raven every few steps, much like the social distancing quarantine, like 6 feet away stuff that you guys get, in grocery stores nowadays. There are several ravens that every few feet apart, sort of like flying together as a flock towards where sort of a front podium would be. And it is very, very, very empty in here. There are dozens of small little wind chimes that are constantly making just beautiful, tinkling little music above you. But the only person that is here is probably around 15, 16 years old, and looks like a PC, for lack of a better term. They are wearing probably male, I would say. It's hard to tell from this distance, but again, very, very, very just sickly, frail male that is wearing robes that only kind of come down to the back of his knees. So it has that kind of like that vampire cape kind of look. And beneath it, you can see that the clothes that are worn are skin tight and red like the color of blood, and has been smeared with mud and paint, so that it really gives the strong impression of like a layer of skin flapping in kind of the breeze as sort of this funerary attire. And beneath that, the clothing is like designed to represent the musculature of a human body. And it is something about the fact that, again, this person is very, very frail, with a very feminine hairstyle, long hair that parts down the middle and kind of goes to either side of his head, kind of like a heart almost in its hair, and that is all tucked into a little pouch underneath his chin. So he has kind of almost a mask of hair around his face. It kind of comes across as a weird sort of a nunnery style. And this fairly young child says, "Welcome to the House of Last Rites. Have you lost somebody dear to you?"
Not yet.
Well, my name is Farrier Elry. I serve as both gravedigger and bereavement counselor here. What can I do to help?
I actually had a few questions. Born trying to hide his excitement and temper his questions a little bit. All of this Raven Queen stuff has sort of come into my life and I don't know anything about it or anything about her or her tenants, or I feel very lost. I'm sure you get that a lot.
He nods and then says, "The wondrous thing about the Winter Queen is that whether or not you believe in her tenets, they inevitably come true. You don't
Okay.
have to educate yourself if you don't wish to.
I wish to.
Well, I always recommend people wait. But what questions did you have? Also, at this point in time, Warren, Galadrin, did you sneak after them?
He'd be sneaking, but like it'd be the equivalent of like a cartoon character holding a newspaper in front of themselves while
Right.
10 feet behind.
Right. Warren, you do not require your god perception to sort of like the light that Galadriel is contrasted against the drab, bleak colors of this place. He's hard to miss as he comes in a different passageway. And like, you know, puts your foot on the ground for a quick second, Galadriel, and like, oh, it's cold, you don't like it. And then, you know,
Does he turn around or does he come in here?
I'm pretending you don't notice me.
Okay. We'll keep playing this game a little longer, I think. So, where do I even start? Like, from what I understand, she is her domains, right? One of them's like being the goddess of fate. But that one's the most confusing to me. Is there like something that means?
well, what information we have from the Raven Queen doesn't come directly from her. There is no holy book. There is no. Our Lady does not provide us information about her workings. It only comes from a multitude of cultures, perspectives, folklore, myth, and legends, and even subjective historical interpretations. And it's all been collected from the most commonly occurring instances regarding the enigma that is our mother.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, what I tell you now might not have any basis in truth. We only know some things. We know that you might have seen her in your travels without knowing. In the Brave Lands, she is known as Old Mother Winter, and she's a hag with an ancient grip. And when she does choose to enter this realm, she uses to do so as a white wolf or a large raven. They are her chosen and thus sacred to us. And we remember this because one never knows if they stand in the presence of the goddess or indeed if it's just a raven crossing their path. And in that way, we are reminded that we always stand one step away from death. But fate is a little more complicated because she is a mercurial being. Sometimes she is as callous as Asmodeus himself, other times she is kind and loving. She is implacable as death itself. She has been known to show mercy, but never swayed by a mortal's plea. She will sometimes even bargain over mortal lives. There are several tales of the Raven Queen accepting a woman's life in place of her lover's, and at least one tale in this vein has a bit of twist. In exchange for a woman's life, the queen takes not the man's life, but his memories of the woman. Then, too, there are those who try bargaining with the Raven Queen to extend their own lives, but it's there we know that she is the goddess of fate herself, because she allows none to escape the tapestry that she weaves within the night sky.
Does that... Okay. Does that make it complicated for, like, Forge folk?
Not really. When you say forge folk, you You mean, does the Raven Queen count their lives as the ones that she will reap?
Let's go with that.
It's a deeply philosophical question, but I am inclined to believe the answer is yes. All things that can eventually be no longer, that will close their eyes for the final time, whether it be a simple forged or the petals upon a flower, those are all under the sway of death.
Okay. I guess I was just curious because, I mean, like, technically, Forged can be immortal, so I didn't know how she felt about them.
We
It's
don't
weird,
know. She escorts the newly dead to Laferna and then sits in judgment of them, and when they're judged, her spirits are then given to the other agents of the gods, and those spirits go on to dwell in their own gods' dominions. She is the veil to which all people must pass through the patchwork quilt to their final rest.
Right, okay. Matches up with most things I know. Difficult to pin down, then. More human than most gods I've heard of.
She grins a little, or probably he grins a little at that. Pardon me, and says, "The Raven Queen doesn't have personal friends or enemies among the gods. You know, she doesn't have personal friends or enemies among mortals either. She only is. I think that hers must be the loneliest of tasks."
Really? To shepherd along dying?
It must be interesting to be a god who possesses information about life and death, but not all knowledge the way that Ayun possesses it. To only know the beginning and the end, but nothing in the middle.
I think I've only got 2 more questions.
Certainly.
How does talking with a deity in general work? Like, is there a way you know?
You can listen for their reply. Talking with a god is something that most mortals will never experience. Do you possess gifts or talents that make you think the Raven Queen knows of you?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it gifts or talents, but I definitely suspect she knows. She knew one of my friends, definitely. They made a bargain with her, from what I understand.
Hopefully a good one.
Well, when I said not yet to lost loved ones, yeah, not a good one. Or maybe good.
I would say, if you wish to speak to any god, the best thing to do first is to serve them. For the Raven Queen, perhaps don dark colors, put raven feathers somewhere on your person to show your loyalty. And then when the time is right, perhaps she will send you a Shadar-kai, one of the shadow people. And between them, you will be able to converse. Through them, rather.
Interesting. I knew one of those. That's who made the deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
And your Shadar-kai friend then is deceased, I take it?
Soon she traded away her life and fate She's got limited time.
Well, a life is never something that we have to trade individually, but if it helps soothe your mind, know that every Shadar-kai brought back into the fold of the Raven Queen does not have their life's thread, but is rather used to strengthen the actual needle itself, where the rest of our lives simply mend the patchwork quilt.
Huh. So, there's no way to know if you're, I guess, the word's communing, right? I kind of look at Eerie. Communing with a deity?
Yeah. That's about right.
You just have to wing it and hope you're heard.
There are books, spells, rituals that will allow you to force an answer, but all of these things are infinitely less true than simply acting in the name of a god and letting them come to you.
Okay. Thanks, Glad.
Warren, with your stupid high perception, you notice that all of the little wind chimes have stopped jingling across the ceiling of this the chapel. It is now completely silent in here.
Oh, does that normally happen?
The boy looks up and then back at you and smiles big and says, infrequently, and you are suddenly struck by like how white his teeth are, bone white against the darker flesh-colored face.
Oh,
I guess muscle-colored face.
okay. Does he just look sick, or does he look like not a human?
Yeah, that's a good question. He looks like he is frail, certainly like abnormally frail, but you're pretty sure that it's paint or something that he's made himself appear as though his skin is red and muscly like. But it's such a good job and so many years of practice, it's hard to tell for sure.
It is some very pearly whites.
But
My
super
last-
pearly whites that are weirdly bone white.
Oh god. My last question before I maybe use this temple for a couple minutes is I know that okay, people who follow gods sometimes have the way that they know that everything's working out between them is that they manifest this divine sort of magic in a way. It's not magic, it's, you know what I mean, divine energy. Do they just figure that out one day? Like, sorry.
Something like that. It's a knowing that is not learned.
Okay. Alright. That's fair. So your Winter Queen is very mysterious. At least I know I haven't been wrong then.
She's a being of dark mystery. Most rumors abound to her movements and goals are mostly claims made by lunatics who have described disturbing images. A pale and regal elf that explodes into an untold number of ravens, a tangling shamble of slick roots and sticks that overwhelms them with dread, an unknown presence pulling them blindly into the gloom. And despite all of our attempts to demystify her, she has remained enigmatic and aloof, immersed in a sea of questions. Yes, we know that she rules from the Raven Throne in the Fortress of Memories, a castle deep in the blackness of the Shadowfell. And from there, she sends out her children to find the most interesting people that she can pluck from various planes of existence and uses these souls to unravel the mystery of all of this. She is too subtle for most mortal minds to sense until she is upon them in death.
I respect that. Fits the animal, actually. That's cool. Considering there's no one here, mind if I just kind of go over there to a corner and guess do some communing for a little bit?
By all means.
Okay. Might be a little loud, sorry.
Yeah, and he scooches past and like stops at you, Galadrin, and says, hello, Eladrin, have you lost someone dear to you?
No, I'm just here to watch.
An
Very nice
admirable
place here.
quality. Oh, thank you. And ushers off to one of the nearby hallways.
I
Picks up
wave
a
glad.
candle.
Are the rest of us here, or just Warren?
Just
Warren
these three, splitting the party.
And... Oh boy.
I mean, yeah. He wasn't trying to hide it from anybody, but people seemed like they had their projects they wanted to do.
Warren
Glad.
wanted to learn how to pray.
Well, you wanna come over this way, or you wanna stay back there still? Glad?
Me?
Yeah. You're standing right there. You're not invisible.
You're the only other person in this building. And
This
the only
doesn't-
other person that looks like you.
Well, you can't say that for sure. This doesn't mean anything, and I sit down closer.
Okay. It'd have been funnier if you'd read off that list. All right. So I sit down and try and get my thoughts in order. So, just so you two know, I'm not expecting any kind of response, and it's a little embarrassing that you're gonna have to listen to me do this.
It's very adorable.
I am very intrigued.
This is hard for me. My dad chased after Cord in his day, and all that got him was killed. So I just feel like being cautious.
What's the
So
worst that could happen?
That's true.
The youth comes back inside at this point in time. It has like a big bowl full of like breadcrumbs and crackers and things, and like about a half dozen of the little, I shouldn't say little because they are big birds, like hop into the cathedral after him, and he begins sort of like scattered around in like the corners of the cathedral.
Oh,
And they make additional raven sounds as they ignore what's going on.
Ah!
Yeah.
Ravens can copy people.
Is it still quiet with the wind chimes?
It is very quiet.
Okay. So then I just start talking out loud. So, I don't really know how to do this, and maybe this is a little bit embarrassing. And maybe I'm ignorant, but maybe you don't care about that. I also realize that if your calling card is silence, then you've listened to me before, and I just didn't know at all. The idea of being blessed by a deity you haven't even talked to is strange, and it leaves this feeling of, like, if I'm doing work for you, and you like it, why not make it more official, I guess is the right word? I don't know. Really, though, the biggest thing that I've been thinking about is Pluton. Because Pluton tells a story that I think is repeating in life now. Back on Pluton, whenever people died, they moved on to an immortal hell with demons and devils. When evil people died. And in those days, you led a revolution for whatever reason. It might have been because you were stuck in a hard place, or for power, or just to end the idea of immortality itself whenever you took the domain of death. But I can't help but be inspired by that, because Rios is becoming that. As days move on, we move closer and closer. These abominations, like the Shadar Kai, having their souls forever trapped in metal husks and made to move about like shambling zombies. The people's souls getting caught in the howl and crashing back only to be annihilated and severed by the car. Or maybe put in forged. The creation of beings like the Sorothian and the enslavement of souls that have not been able to pass on. I think that once this ritual for the restoration of life becomes real, we're only steps away from a new hell where death loses meaning, becomes cage, service to the call. Again, like Pluton was. Service to someone with their own motives. I don't claim to understand everything, but I do claim to be on the same path, to seek a revolution, an end to all these things, to stop the car, bring down the howl, to fight all those who seem to stand against these ideas. The idea that, like, death isn't final, I oppose. And being forced to come back and walk a life that isn't yours is horrific. So I figured, like you did when you did your own revolution, I'd ask for your help. And I know you're maybe a little more opportunistic, so probably won't get an answer, but what I bid for is to have your blessing and aid in these matters, in returning these souls to you, because if I'm being honest, when Shay made her deal with you, you were very kind to her. Because I know how deals work. And she fucked herself. That, her words meant that you didn't have to do anything. You could have snapped her up right there and that would have been deal done. But you gave her time. She knew she was dying. And you let her live out the end of her days. And that was kind. I think I can trust someone like that. So, I don't know, like,
I don't mean to interrupt you, Warren. Galadriel and Irias, you guys are sort of like hanging out sort of near the back of the chapel, and this farrier Elry is feeding the birds. They're very very talkative, Galad especially, and again you can just constantly hear the sound of just these crows, these big giant ravens being like ah, ah! all the time, nonstop.
But you're glad you changed that racial trait.
oh my god.
I am.
And so I think we could work together, but I know that it requires a little bit of a step on my part. So, as a measure of good faith, and this is why I brought my friends here, I would like to offer something kind of specific. People like us, foundlings, and other people of strong will have the ability to fight fate when time comes. They get caught up in the howl and crash down. They maybe get snapped up in something weird, right? Like devoured by some being who eats souls, or they know someone who brings them back to life. And as a measure of good faith, I'd like to give up my rights to all of those things. I don't want to give up my life and the fate that I can weave myself, but when it's over, when I close my eyes and die, which will happen, I'd like to give up every way of defiance. If Morgaine tries to save me, he won't be able to. If the Forge is a deal made and they try to revive me, they can't. And I'd like to give that away. I think it's safer with you than with this island. And that's all.
And unsurprisingly, there is silence. There is no reply, except for the
Absolutely.
constant sound of the gah, gah, of the ravens at the back of the chapel. Pretty incessant. And you probably pull yourself back up after a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Erie, do you say anything?
No. Just gonna feel proud of him.
Aw. Oh, and I start to go, yeah, also, I might need your help because, supposedly the stones are souls, and if if our friend Ashton the First doesn't come with us, might need your aid to just at least make sure he doesn't get dissolved by the car and turned into nothing. Okay, cool. I look at Erie. Faith is weird.
You get used to it.
You have to make so many jumps and leaps, and it fills me with emotions that scare and confuse me.
Did a really good job.
Thanks. Oh, and as we're leaving, and thanks for the little bit of extra effort you went to let me know that you were listening. I know you don't usually do that for people. Sort of a one-time treatment.
And as you start making your way out, Farrier Elry gives you like a good solid, like you did the right thing kind of nod, and then says, "You know, it's interesting. I've never been off this island. I've read books, of course, but did you know the ravens sound different here than everywhere else?"
Really? Why?
I don't know. There's other islands out there, right? Other continents, and past the Howl, and everyone says that ravens only make this sound, and he goes and he gives one a little scritch on the head, and it goes ah, 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 normal. But they don't make that other sound that they make. And one of the large ones, big red eye, hops up on one of the nearby pews, and he goes, "Come on." And gives it a little scritch under the chin, and it looks directly at you, Warren, and the red eyes piercing right into you, and it says, "Caw!" And then hops back down, begins to peck at the bread. And Farrier Elry just shrugs and says, "It's the only place to do it." You have to wonder which came first, the city or the ravens. Which was named after which.
Jeez. I don't know. Thanks for your help. I don't know if I'll be back, but
Anytime.
And thanks for coming along, Glad.
Forgive me for being crude, but the most I expected to happen was for one of them to poop on you. So good job at that not happening.
I wouldn't be too surprised. There's a lot of birds in there.
Warren, can you subtract 2 points of legacy off your character sheet?
Sure. Oh, I know what that signifies. Okay, got it. That's what I traded, isn't it?
You make your way back out into the actual city proper.
Yeah.
It's way, way nicer out in the actual city. There's
way
little
less stressful.
clouds in the sky. Yeah, way less stressful. And you kind of catch Morgane and Saigar coming back, and the entire group reconvening together in the alleyway outside the city.
Well, I think the last thing left for us was to see if we wanted to find Meister or not, or if we wanted to go without the information. So I'm heavily leaning towards the latter, or former.
Warren, did you find what you're looking for?
I think so. But the weird thing about all of this is you can never really know. I think that's how she gets a lot of people. But yeah, I got a lot of answers. I came to understand what I was hoping to understand. And I don't know yet. I think I'll probably know pretty soon whether or not she'll be helping us. Or me. I'll find out.
Just make sure you didn't sell your soul for this.
No. My fate is my own. I gave away... Sorry, continue.
No, I was saying under my breath, she owns them all in the end anyway.
I'm not sure about that, Cavius. Also, look, I repaired Morgane's shoulder.
Yeah, he did a great job. Is Sagar looking at me?
No, I'm not quite.
Shakes.
I was gonna say, you can tell that Morgane is winking at you right now.
You don't know what a forged wink looks like, but this is it.
Wait.
It's a blink because only one eye's working. But
You're basically the equivalent of saying you tried, buddy.
But he doesn't want to hurt your feelings.
It's the thought that sort of counts.
Sort of counts.
I guess it didn't get any worse.
It definitely looks better.
That's
Galad
true.
gives him a thumbs up.
It doesn't look broken.
It looks different.
So I'm a little bit sapped. If we want to talk to Maestro, can someone else take the lead?
I really think we should do it though. He did overhear us, and
Can he be trusted? Like,
I'm sorry. I'd rather. I mean, can you really trust him to keep what we told him? I feel like we may have to resort to maybe.
No. I'm not going to threaten him.
Listen,
I will
not-
take
not
them
gonna
away
hurt
from
him.
you.
Listen, not murder or threatening. I'm just saying we might need to force his hand to understand what his plans really are. We can't trust bond mages. We know this already.
They're even more mysterious than I thought. Handed me a card and telling me not to talk through his boss. Not even what?
I mean, that might work to our advantage. I mean, he may not like Yansavos.
I would like a non-Yansavos person. But, Saigar, are you okay with bonds mages at all? We know your history with them.
I know, but listen, I'd rather us understand his intentions than not, because he definitely overheard us.
Yeah. May
Okay.
as well. And I mean, we've got a decent connection.
I don't like this Morgane, but it's a lesser of two evils.
We have to find him. Is he in the city still?
It's okay. I'll call him.
So,
Good.
see, here's the thing, right? Here is the Lich's Lodge. It is a tavern in Irongast. It has an undead theme. Here is the bookstore, all curled up. It has a rad changeling as the proprietor. Here is a clothing store that sells magical bras called the Breast Defense. That got put in there because that. This is the Unfathomable Alchemy store, where you guys can purchase delicious, delectable goods and also horrible, life-changing potions. However, I can't use any of these places because I don't have a token for Maestro because he was never supposed to be important. So instead, we are going to return back to the loading screen placeholder thing. Because
Hey!
I do not have a token for this man, and all of these maps are therefore moot.
And also, fuck you, Eerie, for us never having to search a city anymore.
That's also true.
I mean, we could go around searching anyway.
So
After all, Eerie spell requires Iridium, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Residium doesn't.
So let me
Nope.
just quickly say that after, like, Eerie, you're able to track him down real quick, and after a little bit of back and forth, he basically tells you that he would love to meet and talk, however, only on his terms, and you have to do so. Let's use the warehouse that you guys were in earlier, Saigar, down by the docks, and he says, in 10 minutes, you can come in after he does. You can watch him go in, 10 minutes later, you can follow.
I wonder why 10 minutes. Maybe he doesn't want to be,
Probably wizard stuff.
or maybe he doesn't want to see that he's associating with us.
10 minutes is an extremely common ritual duration. I'm
Yes.
just saying.
Are
So
we all
let's go-
back
let's-
together now? To
Yeah.
quiz this guy? Okay.
So let's go in at 8 minutes then.
No.
No. But we are going in defenses up, and I'm going to be doing my own little detect magic.
That seems fair.
I don't know. This mortal had a lot of flair. I think we can trust him.
He actually was very
Unlike the
kind to
Fey-
us in the car.
It's true, but